I'd like to welcome you all this morning. Thanks for joining on a Monday morning, right bright and early first thing, at least for us here in Mountain Time. And probably some of you are, you have kids on spring break this week. I know my wife starts spring break later on this week. And so I appreciate you joining us here this morning. And so I wanted to talk to you about this new program that we're kicking off, this tribal wastewater program that's serving tribal nations in EPA region 6, 7, and 8. And we're going to learn more about it. Before we get going, I just wanted to point out some Zoom logistics to you. If you aren't familiar with Zoom, if you want to unmute and talk and ask a question, go ahead and click the unmute. If you'd like to start your video, you can go ahead and use your video. I suggest using the chat. I have some colleagues online that will be monitoring that chat and can pass those questions on to me. If you put something in the chat, everybody is going to go ahead and see what's in the chat. You can message us individually, but I may not see your message right away until after the session is over. So go ahead and put in your chat. If you'd like to unmute and ask a question, you can go ahead and use the raise hand feature. I also recommend the use of these emoticons, these emojis that can, these reactions to let us know if you have a question or if you agree with something, all that sort of thing. So first, let's learn a little bit about who we are. My name's Matt Ziegler. I'm the Tribal Utility Program Director here at the Southwest Environmental Finance Center. And I've been working 20 years with tribal nations and EPA Region 6 on issues related to drinking water and wastewater. We're part of the University of New Mexico School of Engineering here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Beautiful Albuquerque, New Mexico. You see our Sandia Mountains there in our downtown. And actually, the university is a little bit off to the right over here. You can't quite see it. I'd also like to recognize a couple of my colleagues that will be working with me on this program. I'd like to go ahead and first introduce Tucker Colvin. Tucker, do you want to say hi?
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so my name's Tucker Colvin, and I'm with the Southwest Environmental Finance Center at UNM. And I'm actually currently based in Albuquerque, but I'm going to be moving up to Billings, Montana, and will be based there for this project.
Thanks, Tucker. I appreciate that. And Shannon, do you feel like unmuting and just saying hi real quick?
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Hi, everyone. I'm Shannon Pepper. I also work for the Southwest Environmental Finance Center. I'm a research scientist, and I am based in Albuquerque.
Great. Thanks, Shannon. I appreciate that. And so really myself, Tucker, and Shannon are going to be forming the core of the team here at the Southwest Environmental Finance Center. And so we'll be reaching out to you all to implement this program and also to, find out what our wastewater needs are in EPA Region 6, 7, and 8. All right, I'd also like to introduce the Wichita State University Environmental Finance Center. They also run the Heartland Environmental Justice Center, which is a thriving community technical assistance center. So our tribal nation partners up in EPA Region 7 may also already be familiar with the Wichita State University EFC and the Heartland Environmental Justice Center. This group is based out of the Wichita State University Hugo School of Public Affairs there in beautiful Wichita, Kansas. And I don't know if anybody from Wichita State wants to go ahead and unmute and say hi this morning.
Hi, everyone. Just shouting out from Wichita, Kansas, from Wichita State University. We've got Environmental Finance Center and Heartland Environmental Justice Center folks kind of across our region, based out of their homes and offices on campus and all across. So we're here to help and to really dive into this work for safe and reliable water.
Great. Thanks so much, Tanya. I appreciate you unmuting and saying hi. All right, both Wichita State University EFC and the Southwest Environmental Finance Center are part of this Environmental Finance Center network. And this is a national program throughout the continental U.S. and Alaska, Hawaii, and our U.S. territories. And we've been providing services to water, wastewater systems for many, many years nationally. And so you may have heard about the Environmental Finance Center Network. You may be on our mailing list for notification on trainings, events, technical assistance. And so you can check us out online here at the efcnetwork.org website. Make sure you check out the training and events tab at the top if you want to look for some resources. We have a lot of resources available for wastewater and water up there. Videos, tutorials, webinars, tools, anything you can think of is available on this website. All right, our areas of expertise, you know, it's everything from asset management, rate setting and fiscal planning, leadership through decision making and communication, energy management planning, helping you access infrastructure financing. We do workforce development. We know that we're getting a turnover in our water utility workforce, and it's hard to get certified and trained operators. We help collaborate and partnership with other water systems and wastewater systems. We can help with resiliency planning, mapping and data collection, you know, becoming more and more important to make data-driven decisions in how we operate and maintain our infrastructure. And also we can help with wastewater operator certification. So these are all areas of expertise that we have and that are available to you. So let's talk more about this tribal wastewater program serving EPA Region 6, 7, and 8. And so when we talk about EPA Region 6, we're talking about the 66 tribal nations that are part of New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. This program, unfortunately, does not include the Navajo Nation, who is regulated out of EPA Region 9. We're also talking about the 9 tribal nations in EPA Region 7 and the 28 tribal nations in EPA Region 8. This project has been funded by the U.S. EPA under an assistance agreement to the University of New Mexico. So what's this program purpose? Why are we doing this program? And it's really is to provide that training and technical assistance to tribal communities, and it's to help prevent, reduce, and eliminate pollution. And it's to enable these communities to comply with environmental regulations and again, build their internal technical, managerial, financial capacity to sustainably operate wastewater infrastructure. So it's all about, you getting the infrastructure and then also how to maintain it. It's ensuring that our tribal communities have access to public funding to meet their wastewater infrastructure needs. And it's to support these tribal communities in protecting both public health and the environment. Okay, so part of this program is making sure that we're reaching out to all of the different groups that are involved with wastewater infrastructure at tribes. And that not only includes our tribal partners, the 103 different tribal nations in EPA Region 6, 7, and 8, but also working with tribal affairs departments within each state and working with those other TA providers that are active in those states. So it could be you're already working with Rural Community Assistance Program or with Rural Water Association, or in some cases with the Intertribal Council of Arizona, making sure that we're providing you with the most assistance while not duplicating efforts. Partners also include the Environmental Protection Agency, those at the Clean Water Indian Set-Aside Program, those at the National Primary Discharge Elimination System, and also the Tribal Affairs Program and other infrastructure groups at EPA. We're also going to be, that should say Indian Health Service. I'm not sure why it says USDA, but we'll also be partnering with the Indian Health Service because the Indian Health Service is, really involved with infrastructure in our tribal communities. They have that trust responsibility to provide those services to our tribal nation. And we're going to be working closely with the Office of Environmental Health and Engineering, and also with the Division of Sanitation and Facilities Construction. Indian Health Service is they're pushing a ton of projects out right now. All of this DIL funding, they're funding a lot of these projects, and so you're seeing a lot of activity from them. Nobody probably has a better idea of the needs at our tribal nations than Indian Health Service through their sanitation deficiency scoring system. So they're already well aware of what our tribal communities need in terms of wastewater. And then we'll also be working with other federal partners, such as USDA, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, the Bureau of Reclamation, Housing, Urban Development. And so all of these partners are important because not only are they members of the Tribal Infrastructure Fund, but they also are aware of the different needs in terms of technical, managerial, and financial capacity. So, one of the cornerstones of this program is this wastewater needs assessment that we're doing. And so we'll be reaching out to you, to each of the 103 different tribal nations in EPA Region 6, 7, and 8 to complete this wastewater needs assessment. And really, it's going to give us information on what your technical, managerial, financial capacity needs are. What do you need to do a better job at operating and maintaining your wastewater infrastructure? It will also help us understand what your current infrastructure is, what kind of projects you have in the pipeline, and then also what are your unmet infrastructure needs, and so we can provide you assistance with accessing infrastructure funding to get those needs met. As part of this needs assessment, we'll also be doing a technological capacity assessment. We have different technological capacities across our tribal nations. Some have a lot of technological capacity. They have good access to the internet. They have phones. They might have iPads. They're able to, they're fluent in using Zoom or Teams. And then we have other tribal nations that lack that technological capacity. And so we want to make sure that we meet those needs across the board, that we're not only working with people with high technological capacity, but also those tribal nations that may be lacking. And so we want to do a variable approach, where some will communicate, via email, and others will phone and communicate in person as needed. So there's two parts to the program that we are doing. One part is helping tribes access infrastructure funding and make sure the infrastructure needs are met, okay? And the other part is helping systems build that technical, managerial, and financial capacity. Okay, so we're going to go through the program part that looks at accessing infrastructure needs first. And so the first part of that program, again, is providing wastewater infrastructure funding assistance for tribal communities. And so we're going to help communities that need it, that haven't had access before. We're going to help them find the dollars they need to build the infrastructure, the wastewater infrastructure that they need to make sure that public health and the environment are protected in their community. Okay, and so that needs assessment will help us identify those tribal communities that have previously maybe not received this type of assistance before. Okay, we will also be holding a virtual wastewater infrastructure funding series for tribes. So this will be online. They're going to be hour sessions, every month or every couple of months. And some of the topics that we're looking at are going to include things like, what is the Clean Water Indian Set Aside and why you should care about it. The Clean Water Indian Set Aside is funding that comes from the federal government through EPA. A lot of that is administered by Indian Health Service through their SDS system. Okay, but there are other set aside programs that don't necessarily go through Indian Health Service. And so we're going to talk about the changes to SWISO with additional bipartisan infrastructure law money and how that can be available to your tribal communities. We'll talk about what type of projects are eligible for this SWISO funding. And then how are these projects prioritized and how are they selected and how can you improve your chances of getting this type of funding. There are other infrastructure funding opportunities out there if your needs aren't met through the Clean Water Indian Set Aside. We'll talk about those other funding opportunities that are available. And then also, how do I manage my grant after award? What is needed? How do I, help select a contractor? How do I manage a construction project? What type of deliverables do I need in order to meet the award guidelines, excuse me. And then others topics as they come up. And so this will help be determined by the needs assessment and also by interaction with both our project partners at the federal level, but also with the different tribal nations in EPA Region 6, 7, and 8. Another part of helping tribes access infrastructure funding is we're going to be doing peer-to-peer infrastructure funding sessions. And so peer-to-peer learning is one of the more powerful types of learning available. It's learning from our peers. It's not necessarily learning from myself or other organizations involved with technical assistance. It's learning from other tribal nations that have gone down this path before. And so there's a number of tribal nations that have been very successful in finding infrastructure dollars for wastewater. And so they will be helping us help other tribal nations learn what's been successful and how they can access these funding dollars. And so these will be virtual sessions online and available to our different tribal partners. So we will also be doing training, okay? And here's where we get into helping our tribal wastewater systems build their internal technical, managerial, and financial capacity to operate and maintain their wastewater infrastructure. And so we'll be doing both the mix of in-person throughout the Region 6, 7, and 8 states, as well as online to help build that capacity. And some of the topics that we might have, these will help be determined by the needs assessments so that we make sure that we're meeting the needs of our tribal partners. But some of the topics could include wastewater operator certification. We work a lot with drinking water at tribal nations, but also, and drinking water is an easier topic to become certified, I think, sometimes through it. I think it's a lot harder maybe to get certified wastewater operators operating our wastewater treatment systems. And so we'll be helping our tribal wastewater operators become certified at the level that they need to be. Wastewater math, math's a hard topic for a lot of us. If you don't use it, you lose it. And so we will be having a focus on helping our wastewater operators practice and implement wastewater math at their wastewater systems. Regulatory compliance, helping tribal nations understand how the Clean Water Act affects them and how to maintain compliance with it. Mapping and data collection. This is a powerful training that can be done in person at wastewater systems to map assets and collect data to help justify the need for wastewater infrastructure. That's one of the things is you might know that you have a problem with your wastewater infrastructure, but how do you share that story with others, with your tribal leadership, or with Indian Health Service, or with other infrastructure funding organizations? This is a good training to learn how to collect data on your assets so that you can show where your needs are. Asset management. So after you get the infrastructure in place, how do you manage that asset? What is the most economic way to manage that asset? Okay, and so we'll talk about how to use that asset management principles to do that. Effective utility management. You know, maybe you haven't, you manage a water or wastewater utility and you haven't had any type of training on how to manage that utility. This type of training can help our managers at wastewater utilities do an effective job of that. And then we get into some of those O&M types of things that you might need at your wastewater treatment system. And so if you need help with activated sludge process control and optimizing that process, this training can help you with that. Tertiary treatment and how you can use tertiary treatment to meet NPDES requirements. Nutrient removal is another great training that Wichita State can help with. Fats, oils, and grease. You know, these are inputs into our wastewater systems that can have a very negative effect on our treatment systems. And so how do you manage fats, oils, and grease? And then other trainings. We actually have a very large repertoire of trainings available. These are just some of them. And so again, TMF capacity trainings will be based on that needs assessment and individually on the needs of our different tribal nations. Another part of our program is providing one-on-one technical assistance to our tribal nations to help build that TMF capacity. Through that needs assessment, maybe you don't know what your wastewater needs are. And so that needs assessment is going to help you determine what your needs are. Any of those technical topics I put in the training topics can also form the basis for technical assistance and helping you optimize the O&M of your wastewater system. We can help with resiliency planning, emergency response planning, so that you can respond and be resilient to, you know, drought or increased severe weather events, or, you know, sanitary sewer overflow events, or other things related to help you be more resilient and address challenges that come up effectively. Energy management. You know, energy is a big cost for our wastewater and water utilities, and helping manage energy costs can be a topic of technical assistance. Again, asset management planning. Communication and community engagement, you know, helping do outreach to your community members so they understand what you're doing and understand how it affects and can be a positive for communities. We can help you do that. Rates and fiscal planning. So for a long time, many tribal nations haven't charged necessarily for wastewater or water services. We're seeing more and more that our tribal nations are finding success in billing for these services and being able to sustain operations and management at our wastewater and water utilities. And so they're able to, you know, do for their communities what maybe the federal government hasn't been able to do before. So we see a lot of capacity development going on within our communities that are able to implement rates. and do effective fiscal planning. So we can help with that as well if you're interested. And then other technical assistance topics as they come up. If you're having issues or if you're having needs with your wastewater utilities, please reach out to us. Let us know what those needs are. Another thing that we're looking at implementing as part of this program is peer-to-peer online communities. Again, peer-to-peer learning is a very effective way of learning what others have done and what's been successful and what has not. And so creating a safe space online where, you know, that's moderated by other tribal nation wastewater operators, where you can go and find out, hey, where are you getting your pumps on? Hey, what company are you working with on your SCADA system? Or, you know, where can I find chlorine or UV bulbs? You know, those resources you may not know, but others might. And so having this space online where you can ask questions and other tribal nation wastewater operators can respond can be a powerful tool. It can take, you know, since COVID, we've gone to a virtual. We're moving back to online or in person for sure. You know, but having this virtual community where you can quickly ask questions can be a powerful tool. So we're looking at implementing that. And that's part of looking at technological needs of these different tribal nations and understanding where they are and maybe help build up that capacity for use of technology so that they can participate as well. And so you'll be hearing more and more about this online community, and in the coming months you'll be invited to join if you're interested in joining. So for us, you know, what are the next steps after we finish up with this introduction webinar to the program? Well, we'll be reaching out to each of the 103 different tribal nations in EPA region 6, 7, and 8 to begin the needs assessment. And so I'll be focused on region 6 and contacting our tribal partners there. Tucker, he's going to be up there in Billings, Montana, and so he's going to have quite the territory up there, and he's going to be establishing relationships with our tribal communities in EPA region 7 and 8. And then my colleague Shannon is going to be working both in region 6 and then also our tribal partners in Utah and Colorado. So if you want to learn more about our group, the Southwest Environmental Finance Center, I encourage you to go look at our website at the swefc.unm.edu. If you click on there, up there at the top on our work, it'll take you to a program or to a page of all the different programs that we offer. Our tribal wastewater program is just one of them, but if you want to learn more about our tribal wastewater program, you can go ahead and click there, and it'll take you to our tribal wastewater program webpage. And then if you don't want to wait for us to reach out for the needs assessment and to start establishing a relationship with you, you can go ahead and submit a request directly by clicking on that button. It'll take you to a page where you can enter information about what your needs are and what type of assistance you're looking for. Further information, if you'd like to contact us, we have our general SWEFC tribal email up there at the top, along with that tribal wastewater program webpage. Here's my contact information if you would like to contact me directly. But I thank you. I want to thank you for joining us this morning. That's just a real quick introduction to our tribal wastewater program, and we will be contacting each of you individually to find out what your needs are in terms of wastewater, both infrastructure and what sorts of technical assistance and training you might need for your wastewater systems.